Jim, the middle of the 5 children. I want to thank Bishop Conlon, Bishop Siegel, Bishop Imish, Father Brad, Father Burke, Father Bill, Deacon Ed, Deacon Tom. Thank you for joining us. I went to a high school and a college seminary. I was going to be a priest. I left the seminary when I was 22, just a little bit after college. And I went, and one day, from knowing how the rest of my life was going to be, to not knowing what the next day was going to be like. I came home at Christmas time, and I said, boy, if I don't get a job, I could be on Skid Row by the next week. So I was really anxious, and I think my dad picked up that I was uncharacteristically quiet at dinner. So after dinner, he came up to my room, and he said to me, he said, Jimmy, I know you're worried, I know you're anxious, I know you're concerned about what's going to happen in your life, but why don't you think of me as the ocean, and think of you as a log in the ocean. I'm going to roll you up to shore. I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to get you up there, safe and sound. You roll back in, that's okay. I'm just going to keep pushing you until you're up there good and safe and sound. That was my dad. He's faithful. He's a man who kept his promises. My dad was faithful. He was dogged. He was focused. And he was loving. The responsorial song that Emily sang was, the Lord is my shepherd. Surely goodness and kindness will follow me. And one of the strongest, clearest ways I felt God's love is the way my father was with me all the way through. You know, a lot of us joke about Dad would come to our games, and he would sit up on the top of the bleachers or the grandstand, and he'd take statistics. He would write down all the little stats about what his kid was doing. And even after it was over, you'd see up there's one guy in his suit still scribbling on this little 3x5 card, getting all the stats, and then he'd give it to me, and I still have one someplace, how many rebounds, how many points, how many free throws, what the percentages were. Well, it wasn't just games. I don't know how many times I'd come up to my dad and say, Dad, I need to talk with you about something, and it's okay. We'd either talk, we'd go out maybe to Bob Evans or someplace, and I'd tell him what was going on, some concern or challenge, and he'd listen, maybe take a few notes, and then maybe he'd come back in a day or two and we'd sit down and he'd have a different kind of 3x5 card in front of me, filled with thoughts and ideas and examples and encouragements. He'd say, oh, Jimmy, don't let yourself get worried about that. That's not important. This is what's important. He just kind of walked me through it and helped me with that. That's the cards I wish I had. Not just the stats from the games. But in another way, I've got all those cards. They're inside. They're inside. A few years ago when Dad really wasn't up to communicating at all, and I was going through some challenges, I just sat down and I said, what would my dad say about this situation? I just let that open. Well, I got an epistle immediately. I knew what my dad would say about this, and I wrote it all down, and I followed it. And I don't think I'm the only one that could do that. I know my sister and my brothers, and maybe a lot of us here, what we have to do is say, what would Dad have said? And we know, it's clear in our heads. And that's why, people say, well, you'll live on in your memories. Well, yeah, I think that's true. But it goes beyond that. Because I'm looking forward to a lot of new experiences with my dad. Every new thing I experience as my kids get older and things go on for them, and the different things I hope to do in my life. My dad's going to be there with me, and his thoughts, his love, his concern is going to be interwoven with that new thing. So I'm looking forward to all those new experiences too with my dad. I'm going to carry it with me, but probably more exactly, he's he's still carrying me. Surely his goodness and kindness will follow me all the days of my life.